Good evening. We bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Dip Dipianco.
We give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. I'm Zihir Vasho. In tonight's game plan, we'll talk volleyball from the collegiate level all the way to the pros.
Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game. The Cignal HD Spikers are back on top after completing a historic 15-game sweep in the Spikers Turf Open Conference. Now joining us today are the champions, Mark Espejo, Wendell Miguel, EJ Casania, and Coach Dexter Clamor. Guys, welcome to the game. The champions are here.
Hello po. Thank you po.
Grabe. 6 titles in the Spikers Turf in 10 appearances. Grabe yung feat na ginawa nyo. Perfect season. Call it historic, unblemished, lahat na ng word Z. But unahin natin si Coach Dex. Coach Dex, ano bang meron sa team this year? Is it the composition, the energy, the vibe that propelled you all the way to this performance in this conference?
Well, first, siguro naka-recruit kami ng makakadagdag sa team. Siguro yung missing link namin last conference, yun nga si EJ Casania. At the same time, siguro we were very inspired kasi last conference, natalo kami. So, yun yung pinanghuhugutan talaga namin. Kaya siguro nakuha namin yung championship ngayon.
Alright, nambagin po si EJ. So, unahin na natin si EJ.
Yan.
The newbie of Team Cignal. How's it like joining the team for the first time and then bagging the topmost award here in the conference?
Sobrang masaya po sa feeling kasi first time ko nga pumasok sa Cignal and yun, nag-champion kaagad kami. Hindi ko in-expect talaga. And kasi noon pa lang talaga ini-imagine ko na na pag nag-signal ako, ipapakita ko yung best ko sa kanila para mag-champion.
Okay, lipat tayo kay Wendell, of course, best opposite spiker this conference. One can argue you probably had your best conference with Cignal this year in this conference. Ano ba yung motivation mo coming into this conference which gave you this performance in the Spikers Turf?
Sa akin, yung motivation ko lang nung this conference yung patience, sacrifices, and yung mga past natalo namin. Parang nagbigay sa akin ng motivation na kailangan namin bumawi this conference. Tsaka parang sabi ko lang sa sarili ko, kailangan ko lang suklihan yung patience ng coaches, teammates ko kasi nga last na parang na first six ako 2019 pa.
Tama.
2019 pa. So ngayon sabi ko yung tiyaga nila sa akin parang susuklihan ko lang.
Wow, nakaka-inspire naman yun, Dip. But speaking of inspiration, let's move over to the phenom. Mark Espejo. Mark, I know, everybody knows na ilang championships na yung napagdaanan mo. Is this conference win a little bit special or, paano siya kakaiba from all the experiences you've had so far?
Sa akin, sobrang special siya kasi parang itong season na to, parang redemption season. Kasi nga, last season, parang naramdaman namin puro panalo. Okay. So, nung last season natalo kami against NU, so parang wake-up call siya sa amin na kailangan pa namin, parang more pa. May kailangan pa kaming gawin at parang pina-feel sa amin na medyo bumaba muna kami para yung eagerness namin, yung parang yung will and fire namin sa sarili namin, umangat ulit. And yun, masaya ako, nag-champion ulit kami ngayong season.
Nasabi nga nila, redemption for the awesome nation. Yung nangyari this conference. But I want to talk to Coach Dex again. No? It's not easy balancing the talent that you have in the team. Pero hakot awards nga kayo this conference. Diba? Halos lahat nanalo ng awards. But for you, how do you balance, I guess, like si Wendell, sabi niya, last time he started 2019, how did he make his way to the rotation? Paano mo binabalance yung playing time na itong mga players for them to, of course, perform for you?
It always boils down sa preparation talaga, sa training. So nakita talaga namin yung sacrifices nga ni Wendell, ni EJ, ni Mark. So ang daming sacrifices ng mga players, ng mga coaches, even the management. Maraming binigay na suporta para sa amin para makuha talaga namin yung championship. So siguro yun lang, talaga nag-start talaga sa preparation, sa training talaga. Kaya nagpakahirap, bawat isa talagang ginusto na mag-champion ulit. Kaya siguro nakuha namin yung championship.
I guess we can go back to motivation kasi nabanggit na natin, sacrifice, the support, the preparation. EJ, anong klaseng preparation yung ginawa mo? Kasi grabe, historic conference, 15-game sweep. isang set lang yung nawala in the whole conference. Anong klaseng preparation yung ginawa mo na sa tingin mo nakatulong sa historic performance na to?
Preparation po na ginawa ko is yung yung ginaguide po ako nila Coach Dex all throughout the season na magtiwala lang ako sa sarili ko, magtiwala lang ako sa team and sa system namin. And ayun, and si Coach Carl na laging ginaguide din ako. Every time na pangit yung laro ko, kakausapin niya agad ako after ng game na i-ano niya lang ako parang i-enlighten niya lang ako. Sige, okay lang yan. Bawi lang next game. Hindi pa tapos yung isang game. Kahit pangit laro mo ngayon, bumawi ka next game. And ayun po, yung coaches po talaga yung naging motivation ko rin naging tumulong sa akin para po umayos yung laro ko sa game.
And to put it into context, si EJ, bagong addition yan sa Cignal
Correct.
team.
Right.
Setter, but then he was able to balance his attackers, specifically
Yes.
sila Wendell at Mark. Balikan natin si Mark Espeo. 26 points in both games, games 1 and 2 of the finals. Is there added motivation ba pag Cotabato yung kalaban? Kasi alam naman natin sino yung mga kalaban mo dun Mga teammates mo sa national team before. But both games in the finals, ganun yung ginawa mo, 26 points. Is there some added fuel there sa pagkalaban nyo sila?
Honestly, meron talaga. Meron talaga kasi syempre yung AMC, yung core nun,
Yeah.
national team. So alam natin yon. So parang syempre, parang sa lahat sa amin, parang syempre gusto namin talunin yung core ng
Right.
national team. Pero yun nga, since kahit sino namang kalaban, basta Imus, Navi, parang kailangan namin mag-perform talaga. And ibigay yung 100% best namin. And yun, nanalo kami.
Basta gusto ko honest. Honest
At
Mark
least
natin
honest
na.
naman. Sinare naman niya sa atin. Wendell, Game 1, let's talk about the finals. Game 1, 3 close sets, tas Game 2, 5-set match. Was there any pressure na, oh my goodness, hindi natin pwede, hindi ipanalo yung laban na to? Kasi sayang, 15-game streak, di ba?
Yeah.
Actually,
was it?
first set tsaka second set, medyo may naramdaman talaga akong pressure. Siguro, lahat naman na naranasan. Pero pagdating nung third tsaka yung pahuli, parang na-feel ko kasi na, yun nga, tulad sabi ko, lagi kong tinitignan yung mga teammates ko. So, lagi lang nila sinasabi na, gawin mo lang yung tama, gawin mo lang to, nandito naman kami sa likod mo, ganyan, lagi nila sinasabi. Lalo na nung fourth set, medyo na-frustrate ako dun sa last point, na, yun nga, nablock ako ng opponent namin. Tapos, nung fifth set, sabi ko lang sa sarili ko, compose ko lang sa sarili ko, tapos, parang pagkatiwalaan ko lang yung mga teammates ko lagi na nasa likod ko nga. Yun, wala na akong naramdaman kahit anong pressure lalo na ng fifth set.
Great. Balikan natin si Coach Dex, of course. Matagal-tagal. Gusto ko yung very supportive sila sa isa't isa. But Coach Dex, medyo mahaba yung pahinga, no? Coming into the next conference sa Spikers Turf. What's your plan, I guess, during the break? Nakikinig yung players. Ano mapapagawa sa amin ni Coach Dex for
Baka sakaling may magbago
for the next months, pati yung fans na yung aabangan for Cignal?
Actually, of course, we will continue our training. Kasi hindi pwedeng mababakante sila And may mga plans din yung Cignal para sa amin. Mga training camps outside, of course. Itong mga to, kahit hindi mo sabihan na mag-training, mag-training at mag-training yan So, magpapakondisyon at hindi magpapabaya yan. So, yun. Hintayin lang namin kung kailan yung next conference and then we will prepare. And we will do better.
We look forward to you defending the crown. And again,
Oh,
congratulations,
yes.
Coach Dexter Clamor, Mark Espeo,
you.
Wendell Miguel, EJ Casania, the champs of the Spikers Turf 2023 Open Conference. Thank you for joining us, guys.
Thank you.
All right, we've got more volleyball because after the break, we're taking a look at the top spikers so far in the ongoing UAAP Season 85 Women's Tournament. Stay tuned, you're watching The Game. You're still watching the game. The UAAP volleyball action resumed today, and it's time to shine a spotlight on the league's top spikers to date. Now joining us to talk about the star hitters of season 85 is volleyball analyst Ayel Astillero. Yel, thank you for gracing us with your presence.
Thanks for having me again.
All right, so we're gonna go through your list. Para sabihin lang namin sa inyo na this is not the official UAP list, but it's Ayel's list. All right, before we get into going through these players, could you tell us what was your criteria?
For me, number one, it's really the efficiency. So there are a lot of good spikers, attackers this season, rookies to seniors, sobrang galing talaga. But they can be a scoring machine, but sometimes you see a disparity between their attempts and their attack points. So I think as a spiker, efficiency is very important. And then second, there are a lot of skillful and talented players this season. So there are players who can use a lot of power, but for me, one criteria also to be a good spiker is to really be a smart, high volleyball IQ, and to have the wits in playing the game.
Right, so yung mga pumasok sa criteria na yun, nandito sa list ni Ayel. And of course, na-miss natin si Ayel, na-miss din natin yung women's volleyball, so let's get to it.
Alright.
The first player, naglaro na to agad kanina. They won in straight sets. Alyssa Solomon, she's part of this list. Tell us why.
Well, Alyssa Solomon, she has the gift of height and length. So definitely her angles are very difficult to read because of her height, and her spike reach is also high. So at most times, it's hard to read, hard to defend because she can go sharp cross court, sharp down the line. So that's one advantage that she really has. She's not the most explosive, but she's really smart in her attacks. And because she's not explosive, but her angles are good, it's hard to predict her drop balls as well.
All right, Alyssa Solomon, so far ranked first in spiking, fifth in scoring, with 114 spikes and 38.51 success rate, which is very exceptional na for her position.
Exactly.
All right, let's get to your number 2 on the list, Ea Laure of UST.
Well, you can't talk about good spikers when you don't talk about Ea Laure. She has been the leader of the UST squad. She has been tremendous. She's very explosive in all her approaches. So you just can imagine yung endurance niya the entire game. And she's very smart as well in terms of playing. She's not just using power, but she makes sure that she's able to adjust depending on who she ever plays against with.
Well, Ea the Slaya, as we call her, ranked second in spiking, first in scoring, and in their last game prior to the break, 29 big points in that win against LaSalle. So she obviously deserves to be part of this list. And next one, of course, from Adamson, we have Kate Santiago. You put her in this list as well as
Well,
Ayel.
for me, Kate Santiago, I put her there because she's one of the most improved players this season. And because she played opposite last season and she's playing in her comfortable position right now as an outside hitter, she's very efficient in both sides of the court. And she's also able to contribute from the back row. She's not an attacker who uses a lot of, off speed or like drop balls, but her power and her speed really allows her to perform well every single game.
I guess to appreciate more yung nabanggit mo ang change in position, could you tell us a little bit how different is it being an opposite and an outside hitter?
Well, the approach is definitely different. The direction of the approach is different, so there's certain adjustment in that. And she's a lefty, so at most times you would see lefties on the opposite side.
Right.
You would see them on the right side of the court because their angles are they're more comfortable with the angles in that side. But when you play outside, it's very different. So I'm pretty sure she adjusted, but it shows in her game that she's very comfortable with the position so far.
Right. Okay. Lipat tayo sa next one on the list, of course, for NU.
Oh, yes. Of course, parang hindi kailangan mabanggit din itong pangalan
Kailangan
na to.
yan, kailangan.
We got Bella Belen, 4th in spiking and 6th in scoring.
Oh, Bella Belen, she has a slow start this season, but she finally found her groove. And so far, this second round, she's very smooth sailing. We saw that in their game earlier against Adamson. She's gifted with height as well, but for her, at most times, she's a go-to player, so may blocker talaga siya. But she's able to recognize the weaker blocker, and she's able to maximize that.
Well, you mentioned Bella Belen had a slow start to this conference, and it's really hard naman talaga to top her performance, rookie MVP last season. But what do you think was it, and what did she do to adjust if you saw the game a while ago for Bella Belen? Ano ba yung meron sa kanya this season?
Well, for her, I think she just played consistent. She just keeps on improving and learning every game. And right now, she really found her peak. She's on the peak of her season so far, and she's moving upwards. she's getting better. Her angles are better. Her cross-court attacks
Yeah.
are very deadly. So that's one thing that's the biggest advantage of Bella Belen. She has the confidence in playing as well.
And speaking of deadly kills, parang ang hirap din naman, hindi banggitin yung pangalan na to. Angel Canino of La Salle.
There's a lot of good rookies this season. You have Tisha Tubo as well in Adamson. You have Vance Alinsog of NU. But Angel Canino, she has been really excellent in playing. She has the height as well. Her form is picture perfect every single time. But for her, it's really the wits of the game. Her volleyball IQ in a very young age is very high. She knows what attacking style to use in every situation. She is very versatile. She can go off speed, use power as well. For her age, she's very skillful and smart in playing.
Right. Itong si Angel Canino, she's also making a case for possibly following the footsteps of Bella and becoming a rookie MVP. I asked you this also. I believe back then, Ayala, you think it's possible. But what is she doing right? Is it also because the team of La Salle is gelling well with the setters, sila Mark?
The season, that's her biggest advantage because she's able to adapt early on the system of La Salle.
I guess I wanted to ask before we wrap this up. It's been more than half of the elimination round. And again, exceptional spikers, rookies to veterans. Siguro, sino sa 5 na to na talagang nag-stand out sa'yo? Kasi you have household names already. You've had people, everybody expected to perform well. Pero sino so far ang nagsistand out sa'yo this season?
To be honest, because seniors, we are expecting them to perform. So I'm really gonna go to Angel Canino.
Okay.
Because although a lot of pressure was given to her that she's gonna be a super rookie, but I feel like she didn't really let that in. She's just really performing. And the way she plays, really, it's different. Her form, her fundamentals, and we can't just talk about attacking as well. She's been performing overall in all the skills, blocking, receiving. So she's doing a lot of things for La Salle, given that she's a rookie.
Right, high stakes, high pressure for Angel Canino, but she's delivering. And we look forward to watching all these players and the rest of the games in the UAAP, as well as Ayel covering the women's and men's volleyball games as well for the UAAP. Thank you so much, Ayel, for joining us. And after the break, we'll find out some courtside stories coming from the University of the East. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game. Welcome back. You're still watching the game. In the UAAP, the Warriors continue to display their passion for the game of volleyball despite being at the bottom of the rankings. What keeps these student athletes motivated to bring pride to the University of the East? Let's find out from UE correspondent Alison Go. Alison, welcome to the game and we look forward to all the stories you'll share with us. Of course, unahin na natin dyan, women's volleyball. It's resumed today. The games after the break. Let's talk about Lana, the captain of your team. We all know how she can be passionate, diba, as a leader. Can you tell us more about how she is inside and off the court?
Yes, you may notice, Dip, in their FEU game, Lana was really left in tears. And she told me this is really stemming from her passion to play for the team. And she's been the team captain for 2 seasons now. And you can see in games that she's really leading the team, not just in scoring, but also in huddles. She's always the first one and the loudest one inside the court to hype her teammates up and to motivate them.
All right, so far, Lana, although they're the last ranking team in the women's division, siya yung number 8 and 9 in terms of spiking and scoring. So not so bad for the team captain. But I know you have an insider as to how she really is. And versus how she is as a team captain.
Yes, that's the funny thing actually, because she's the loudest one inside the court. So you'd think she's also like that outside the court, but in reality, you know, her teammates had told me that she was like really shy and soft-spoken. But when it's game time, she would shift completely and just be the loudest one, even the loudest one inside the court. So this really tells about how passionate she is, and we can definitely expect this passion to just keeps on growing every other game.
And it's not easy, you know, with how the team right now is performing, diba? As a leader, you want to be able to keep your teammates motivated. Lana is doing exactly that for the women's team. Lipat naman tayo sa men's team of the UE Red Warriors. Kenneth Kulabat, or should we say Queen Kenneth? What's up with him?
This is actually a very fitting nickname for Kenneth. His teammates call him Queen Kenneth basically because he's taking the reins. Not just in scoring, but also in huddles. If you watch the games during huddles, aside from Coach Jerome, of course, Kenneth would also talk to his teammates, motivate them, cheer them up. So I guess if you really ask me, beyond the great player that he is now, first and foremost, he is a team player.
Kenneth Kulabat, so far number 1 in receiving, 7 in scoring, and 10 in spiking. I guess, what has been the most memorable Queen Kenneth moment in this season?
Well, I was asking him that question, you know, how are you able to play this well? But, you know, he always gives me the same answer every time, and he just owes it to his teammates, to his coaches. So, yeah, at the end of the day, it's really more, it speaks a lot about his character as a team player, this Kenneth.
Right, let's talk about the coaches. Finally, Coach Jerome Guhit and Coach Jumbo Di Maculangan, as you mentioned, how UE is right now in the rankings. But how do they keep their teams motivated? Ano bang meron sa kanila as the leaders right now, helping their ladies, their guys in the men's division? Paano nila minamotivate yung
Well,
team?
depends. They're actually the only 2 members of the coaching staff for UE on both teams. So they are quite understaffed compared to the other teams in the tournament. But as Coach Jumbo said, this is really just a motivation for them to do better at their jobs, to take the extra effort. And speaking of the extra effort, if you know, the mindset of the team now goes beyond the standings. It's really more about player development, how they can be better inside the court.
All right, bigger picture, they might not be able to get into the top 4 to the next round. But what do you think the duo coaches, J Squared, yun ba yung official name nila? Coach Jerome and Coach Jumbo, ano sa tingin mo yung outlook nila for the rest of the season?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, they're really going beyond the standings. So in training, Coach Jerome shared to me that they're really focusing on internal development. Their training is no longer focused on the opponents, what their plays are, but really more about themselves, how they can improve inside the court. So in the upcoming games, this coming Saturday, we hope to see much more of that inside the court.
Right, and we look forward to watching the UE teams and the volleyball sport perform well, and of course to hear more stories from Alison. So thank you so much, Alison, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
All right, that's it for tonight. Thank you for joining us. I'm Zihir Vaso.
And I'm Dip Dipianco, and this has been The Game.